I'm going to go through some of the most popular, but also some of the most hated police videos I've ever posted. And I'm going to break them down. And when I say people are triggered by some of the content that I posted, that's an understatement. Now, to be fair, most people are reasonable, and there does need to be some clarification on some of the laws. But most police officers are also reasonable. Not all laws that exist are enforced, and I'd even say that some of them exist just to counter some of the most popular excuses that people give when they're pulled over. I know lots of cops, I've worked with lots of cops who they actually hate giving tickets for all kinds of different reasons. Some of them hate having to go to court, especially on days off. Sometimes they think the penalties are too harsh, and unless the driver, when they pull them over, they fail the attitude test, and if you don't know what the attitude test is, I can explain it, then they just give them a warning. Not even a written warning. They don't even bother pulling them over. I know one cop in particular who, they don't give out cell phone tickets. He'll notice somebody on the phone, which isn't hard to do, but sometimes he'll pull right beside them in the marked cruiser and gives them the naughty signal. Doesn't even bother to pull them over. People usually wave and they appreciate the warning. They know what the cop's doing. And warnings go a long way in terms of gaining public support. They know they could get a ticket. They're guilty, but the officer lets them go. Some people would argue that warnings go further in curbing future crimes than actually charging people. But it also gains more respect, and I do agree with that. I'm going to explain a few videos which have really pissed a lot of people off, and understandably so. They're short and they're to the point, so let's just get right into the first one. Hey, officer. Okay, question about cell phone use. Can I use my cell phone when I'm driving?
Cannot use your cell phone. Can't hold or use a cell phone while operating a vehicle.
How much is the fine?
$615, carries 3 demerit points, and a 3-day license suspension upon conviction.
Okay, what if I'm at a red light?
No, you can't use it or hold it.
What if I'm stopped in traffic?
No.
Same fine?
Same fine.
Thank you, officer.
You're welcome.
What gets people mad about this one is the whole touching or holding your phone. If the law wasn't stated that way, then basically everybody would just buy a dash mount and be texting away. They would put their phone on their dash and be texting away. They'd say that they're using maps or accepting a call or accepting a ride for food delivery or Uber, Lyft, skip the dishes. There's no exemptions for any rideshare or delivery drivers either. And if there was, then that would be the excuse that everybody's using, the excuse of the day. The most common excuse people use for holding their cell phone when they're driving is that it dropped on the floor and they were just picking it up. I've heard it myself when I had somebody pulled over for distracted driving. People are convicted in court every day with that excuse, just so you know, but it's still out there. So the law exists to discourage people. But this is important. I don't know one police officer who's given a ticket for somebody touching a button quickly, accepting a call or a ride. Not one. It's not difficult to see if somebody's on their phone. You see it all day long when you're driving around. I said at the beginning of the video that most police officers are reasonable and understanding, and are not actively looking to screw people over. And if they were, it wouldn't be hard. You see somebody touch a screen, quickly you move on. The problem is that when you pull people over for it, and they use that excuse when you saw something completely different. But I'm telling you, I don't know any cops who give out tickets for such a quick interaction. Hey, officer, I see you're doing some speed enforcement here.
I'm trying to.
Okay, listen. How fast can I go over the limit before I get a speeding ticket?
Well, speeding is speeding at 1 kilometer over the speed limit.
Okay, what if I'm on a busy highway? It's
You
fast.
can be
Everybody's
pulled over
doing
for
like
any speed over the limit.
Okay, everybody's doing 30 over the limit. Can I still get a ticket?
Yes, you can. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You focus on yours driving safe.
All right, thanks. I covered this not too long ago. Listen, you need to start somewhere, okay? I don't know any police officer that's pulling somebody over for 1 or 2 over the limit, but you need to start somewhere, especially if there's a lot of public complaints or it's in a school zone, which is quite often where police are conducting enforcement because of a lot of public complaints or areas of where there's a lot of collisions. Targeted enforcement. You have to start somewhere. We simply state the law, or we share the law as stated. However, it's not normally put into practice, but people just get so mad. You got police officers willing to give you this information and explain things, what can happen, and people get so mad. And the comments, about it being nothing but police officers being revenue generators or another form of taxation. And the same goes for stunt driving as well. Hey, officer, I heard if you're doing 49 over the limit and above, you get charged with stunt driving. Is that what that guy did?
Yes, the driver was charged with stunt driving, excessive speed. To be exact, for this driver, it was 120 kilometers an hour in a 40 kilometer an hour zone.
Driving 50, 60, 70 over the limit, 150 over the limit, that's not revenue generation. People are losing their lives every single day. And it's not just the drivers of the vehicle. Sometimes it's the passengers. You lose control. innocent bystanders. This is not uncommon at all. And listen, there needs to be a harsh penalty. I'll say this again, driving is a privilege. It's not a right.
Traffic crimes cost society more, devastate more Canadian families, and inflict more physical insult than all other crimes combined.
Besides my own crime prevention and traffic safety videos that I've made over the years, the ones that I make with my old partner, Pappy, they primarily focus on traffic enforcement, and they really get a lot of traction. We make these videos to educate, and despite the negative comments, you can avoid these expensive fines by following the rules of the road. It's actually not hard. It's not difficult at all. Save your money. Put the police out of business. Police officers are telling you exactly what they're looking for, and again, how to save your money. I mean, you can't get any more transparent than that. Again, it's not difficult. Excessive speeding, dangerous driving, distracted driving, on busy streets when there's people walking around. They can all be avoided.
Hey, officer. Hey, listen, some cop told me you could actually get a ticket for going through a yellow light. Is this true?
Yes, you're required to stop at amber lights.
Yeah, okay, but everybody speeds up to try to make it through before the light turns red. You have to stop for that?
If it's safe to do so, you come to a stop.
Okay. Well, what's the fine for speeding up anyways? What's the fine for this?
The penalty is $185, 3 demerit points.
Yes, you can get charged for going through a yellow light or an amber light. And people are convicted on this every day, despite what the comments say. Sometimes when you're driving, and I don't even mean as a police officer, it's just when you're driving and you're at an intersection and you can see the traffic going the other way, their light turns yellow before it turns red, you can hear people speeding up, gunning their engines. They speed up because they want to make the red light. And usually the way it works is if you pass the white line, if your vehicle passes the white line before the light turns red, then you're okay. It's not a red light ticket. But there are fines for going through a yellow light.
Hey, officer, you seriously giving that guy a ticket for parking the accessibility spot?
That's right.
How much?
It's $450.
He was literally here for 2 minutes, okay? He went in, he grabbed a coffee, he came
Unless
back,
you
he was
have an
gone.
accessibility permit, you cannot park here. There's plenty of other spots you could have walked over to.
There's no excuse for this unless it's a genuine emergency. And yes, genuine emergencies, they can happen. But picking up food, if you're a delivery driver and you're only there for a second, you just went in for 2 seconds to grab the food and come out, that's not an emergency. Check this photo out. I posted this a while ago and it got quite a bit of conversation. I was ripped apart for it in the comments, but I was in, again, a marked police car. There was a fight taking place at a restaurant. There was a fight with weapons. All kinds of cops showing up. I mean, it was a genuine emergency, okay? 911, people were getting hurt. Cops pull up, cops parked on the sidewalk, on the grass, in the emergency spot, and coming back out of the restaurant, I was approached by an individual, and really they kind of ripped me apart for parking in the spot outside this restaurant when the fight was taking place. Again, there was knives involved. This was a genuine emergency, and I was completely justified 100%. Again, you got cops parking on the ground. If you're in that restaurant and you're there with your family or you're the one being attacked, it doesn't matter. You just want people there as fast as you can. The cops aren't going to drive around looking for a parking spot. What's the attitude test? Well, it's probably exactly what you think it is. Police officers, they pull somebody over and maybe they were going to drop it. Maybe they were going to give the person a warning, but you walk up to the vehicle, you as a police officer, and they fail the attitude test. Instant insults, they're denying and are being very, very disrespectful. Whatever the case is, that's the attitude test. And you were just going to give them a warning and say, listen, go about your day, be safe, drive safe, everything else. But now you're going to give them a ticket because of the way they are, and especially because they're denying the offense, what took place. One last thing before I finish off. What happens when the cops pull you over anyways? They activate their rooftop lights, you pull over to the right, they're behind you. Sometimes they're in their car a while before they even approach you, and you give them all your information, your driver's license, your ownership, your insurance. They go back to the car, and it seems like it's taken them a while too. What's the process? What are they doing? What can they find out from your personal information, from your driver's license? What can they find out about the vehicle from the license plate, especially if you're not the registered owner of the vehicle? What can they find out, if anything? I get into all those details in this video. It's actually very interesting, and I suggest you check it out. Listen, folks, thanks for watching this. Be safe out there. Look after one another, and perhaps we will see you again.